of the origins of the humble address, and when I was a political advisor on the Brexit team in opposition, these looked a bit more clever than they do today. So I thank him for that and the spirit he did it. But in particular, I want to thank and highlight the speech by my honourable friend for Bolsover, who I thought made an incredibly powerful and commanding speech and rightly put the voice of victims in this House, and she did so brilliantly. So thank you for that. Mr. Speaker, it's clear from all sides of the House today that they share the public's anger at Mandelson's treachery, his lies and his deceit. As the Prime Minister said earlier, Mandelson betrayed this country. He betrayed Parliament, he betrayed my party, and he betrayed our government. He lied. I'll just make a little progress and I will, if that's okay. He lied to the Prime Minister. He lied during the vetting process, which I will return to because a number of members raised it. Frankly, Mr. Speaker, I suspect he's still lying now. And that's why, since new information came to light, the Prime Minister, over the weekend, the Prime Minister has acted in a number of ways. Firstly, on Monday, I will. Just let me complete this and I will. On Monday, the Prime Minister instructed the Cabinet Secretary to investigate all papers released by the US Department of Justice. The Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister also said out to this House in a statement. On Tuesday, the Cabinet Secretary decided to refer certain material to the police with the Prime Minister's support, and subsequently the police have launched a full investigation with which we will cooperate fully and must go everywhere the evidence takes it. I will give way, if you take up first the honourable gentleman there, and then I'll give way.
I think it's pretty underhand of the Minister to make himself the champion of public anger about the person Mandelson was. Because I can tell you what the House is angry about on both sides. It's not just with Mandelson, it's with the Prime Minister for appointing him in the first place.
Minister.
As the Prime Minister has said many times, if he'd have known what he knows now, he wouldn't have had him within 1 million miles of government, and that is absolutely right. I will give one to my honourable friend.
Sir Julian Lewis.
I'm very grateful to the Minister for giving way. I'll try and make the same point, but in a less emotional way. Now, the Prime Minister was asked today directly, could he tell us, did the official security vetting that he received mention Mandelson's ongoing relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein? And he replied, yes, it did. Now, the point is that when the Minister says he lied to the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister knew that the relationship was ongoing. So even if he lied about some other aspects of the relationship, cannot the Minister see that the fact there was any ongoing relationship at all with a man who'd been imprisoned for paedophilia and prostitution, can he not see that that was an impossible position to defend, and no subsequent lies or revelations alter the fact that the Prime Minister appointed him when he knew that he was in that ongoing relationship?
Can I thank him for that? As the Prime Minister said, he was lied to repeatedly by Mandelson. And the scope of the due diligence, which I will come to the vetting process in a minute, but the scope of the due diligence is within the scope of this humble address. It will be released. The House will be able to see for itself this process. I'll just make a little progress if that's okay, and then I will come back to it. Alongside further steps the Prime Minister has made in the last week, he has recommended to the King that Mandelson be removed from the Privy Council. He's instructed legislation, this is the point the Honourable Member for North Dorset raised, legislation to be drawn up to strip him of his title, and for wider reform of the House of Lords process. In answer to the question raised earlier, that legislation is imminent. It will be in government time, and it will be brought to this House as soon as possible. Frankly, I wish it was already here now, but it will come very, very soon, and it will be in government time. I will give way to the honourable gentleman, and then there, that's okay.
Grateful to the Minister for giving way. But of course, before the appointment of Peter Mandelson as our ambassador, he was appointed as strategic advisor, consultant, advocate and planner for the 2024 Labour Party general election campaign. And could I suggest that he was appointed, and members opposite know this to be true, because he was treacherous, because he was deceitful, and because he was a liar, a master manipulator in political dark arts. That's why the Prime Minister appointed him. And there's no defence, is there?
Minister.
just to be clear, he was not appointed to any role in the 2024 campaign. I remember that campaign very, very well. And honourable members, to clear up two other points that were raised in this debate, as honourable members made very, very clear earlier, he had no role in candidate selection at all. That is done by the NEC and through the rule book. He had absolutely no role in it. He had absolutely, if I just finish now, he had absolutely no role or say in any reshuffle either. And for honourable members just to keep repeating it, it is absolutely fundamentally untrue.
Who are you giving way to? I've got Forrester. Which one? There's a few. There we are. Come on, Harriet Cross.
Thank the Minister for giving way. Just say the Minister was appointing his own new member of staff, and he knew that member of staff had twice lost a job in the past because of misdemeanours. If he then also knew that member of staff had relationships continuing with a convicted paedophile, would the Minister give him a job?
Yes or no?
Minister.
She tempts me into hypotheticals I'm not going to get to, if that's all right. But let me answer some other. I'm going to make some progress, if that's all right, because there are a number of questions raised, and I want to make some progress, please, because a number of people raised the question of vetting, which I want to come to, and the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee outlined this process a little earlier, and I just want to clarify that. But she was absolutely right in what she said. Before Mandelson's appointment, there were two distinct and separate processes. Firstly, within the Cabinet Office, where due diligence was followed in exactly the usual fashion for this type of appointment, and a second process, which is national security vetting, undertaken by UKSV, the UK security. I'll just complete this point, by UK security vetting. I want to be very clear with the House. None of that was skipped. Nothing was removed from the usual process. And we have, as the Paymaster General set out earlier, strengthened the vetting process further. I will give way to the Honourable Lady, and then I'll give way to the Honourable Gentleman behind.
Thank you. I thank the Honourable Gentleman for giving way. I wonder if I could ask him, the Prime Minister said clearly today that he knew when he appointed Peter Mandelson to the job as His Majesty's Ambassador, that he knew that he had an ongoing relationship with paedophile Epstein. So can the Minister tell us what sort of relationship he thinks would be acceptable in appointing such a person?
Minister.
As the Prime Minister made clear, he was lied to repeatedly by Peter Mandelson on this, and information on that was in the vetting report, which will be published to the House. I will give way to the Honourable Gentleman.
So Ali Shelby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Minister for giving way. But the question, Mr. Speaker, to the Minister is this. The Prime Minister stood at the dispatch box and said he knew. When the Minister says that documents will be released and the vetting will be released, that's all irrelevant, Mr. Speaker, because we're not interested in what he said, because the Prime Minister said that he knew. So the question is this. Why did the Prime Minister feel that that was appropriate to appoint one of the most senior ambassadors in the world? That's got nothing to do with vetting. This gets to the heart of the Prime Minister's judgment.
Minister Ward.
As I say, the Prime Minister, look, before Mandelson was appointed, there were reports obviously linking him with Epstein. This was looked into as part of the vetting process. Mandelson lied to the Prime Minister, he hid information. When new information came out, he removed it from it. This information will come out, will be processed and will come further. I'm going to make some progress and come to the motion, if that's okay. I will give way to my own relief. It's the first one from behind me.
The Minister...
Just a minute. In fairness to the Minister, he's given way time and time on this side, and quite rightly, he's giving way to the left. So don't feel that you've been outdone to, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Minister agree with me that the reason we are here today is because of the brave women that have spoken out and led us here? That we have a responsibility, a shared responsibility as a House, to make sure that no stone is unturned. And as a government, we will absolutely make sure that the victims at the heart of the paedophile Epstein's crimes get the justice they deserve. We carry on calling out this behaviour wherever we see it, and we make sure that now we are in government, we will do everything we can to halve violence against women and girls. It comes too little too late, but is needed now more than ever.
Minister.
I absolutely agree. I couldn't have put it, I couldn't have come anywhere near as well as that. And the Honourable Lady made, as I say, an incredibly powerful speech earlier. She quoted Virginia Giuffre in her speech at length. I thought that was an extraordinarily powerful way to make the point, and she made it better than anyone, because it's the victims we should have in mind. I will give way. I will give way one more time, and then I will come to the motion, if that's all right.
Dear Kearns.
I appreciate the Minister for giving way. One of my concerns has been that when Mandelson was our ambassador in DC, he was responsible for a very large embassy. Now, there may have been members of the Foreign Office staff there who have survived rape or sexual assault, or there may well have been sexual assaults during his tenure of ambassador. Can I confirm that Foreign Office ministers have reviewed all HR decisions he made while he was there as ambassador to make sure that any women who had any concerns about treatment, or they were spoken to, or things they reported, received the support that they deserved?
Can I thank her for that point? Look, anyone who obviously would make any allegation or any report of that would obviously be treated seriously. I will take it up with Foreign Office ministers, if that's okay, and come back to her, because she does raise an incredibly serious point. I will give way one more time to the former Attorney General, if that's okay, and then I will...
I'm extremely grateful to the Minister for giving way, and I know he wants to move on to the motion, but just before he does, the point was raised by my honourable friend with the Shadow Minister, but I'd be grateful for some reassurance from him. He's moved the manuscript amendment. If the House today passes this motion with the manuscript amendment attached, then a volume of material will reach the Intelligence and Security Committee. He knows that our administrative resources are limited, and we do not know what volume of material may be coming our way. The House will expect us to do a thorough job. We will seek to do one. But can I ask him to reassure me and the House that the committee will have the additional administrative resources it needs, if it needs them, in order to consider that material properly?
Minister.
Can I thank him for that, and for the speech he made earlier and the point he's making this? Absolutely, yes. I completely recognise the point he's making. There is a lot of documents covered by the motion here. That's not a complaint. Of the authority and respect of this House, they need the resources to go with it. We will ensure that happens in the usual way. I'm going to go to the motion, if that's okay. I'm going one more time, and then the motion.
Smith. I thank the Minister for giving way. Could he confirm on the floor of the House that the government will also include details of how the government managed conflicts of interest between Peter Mandelson's shareholding in Global Council and his activities as ambassador? And specifically, could he look at the background and come back to the House on 2 contracts, one to Adderall Technologies and one to Palantir, which were direct award contracts, of which at least one of those clients was a client of Global Council?
Can I thank him for that? And as I mentioned at the beginning, the way he went about his speech as well. Look, the humble address will cover that will be within scope of the humble address that we'll have it. And if there are specific further points regarding direct procurements that the Cabinet Office needs to look into, I will write to him and come. From the I will intercept, but the opposition spokesman person wants.
I'm very grateful to the Minister for giving way, and he's being very generous with his time. The humble address is obviously about Lord Mandelson's appointment. However, the point raised by my right honourable friend was about 2 contracts, at least one of which went to, by direct award, a business that was a client of Global Council. The Prime Minister met that company whilst in Washington. It did not appear on his register of interest. Will the Minister assure the House that the Cabinet Secretary will look into the process that led up to that direct award?
Minister.
As I said, we will deal with what's in the first. Everything in the humble address we'll deal with. On that point, I will ask the Cabinet. I will write back to him. I will write back to the Honourable Gentleman as well, and I will follow up with the Cabinet Secretary on that point, if that's okay. I'm going to get to the motion, then I promise I will give way, because you have been trying. I'm going to get to the motion. I'm going to get to the motion. Now, as I said, the government expects the spirit, purpose, and intent of the opposition motion, and we want to provide transparency and drain the swamp of Mandelson's lies. The amendment we have, the manuscript amendment we've put forward, has two important points in it. One on national security and one on foreign relations. I want to cover those quickly, and then I will take interventions. On national security, as the Prime Minister said from this dispatch box, and has said more times to me over the years I've known him than I can remember, is his #1 priority, and he will never compromise on that. That is why we wanted it in the motion, and that's why we wanted it in front of the House. There is a precedent for this within the humble address, as we mentioned. Well, I think one of my friends mentioned earlier in the humble address we did regarding Lebedev, which included the words, and I quote, in a form which may contain redactions, but such redactions shall be solely for the purposes of national security. So the intention is to abide with that spirit, and the intention is to make a very clear point on national security. But I will come to how this is going to be done by the ISC and the Cabinet Secretary in a second. On international relations, as the Prime Minister said, these documents, which are significant in number, could well touch on sensitive issues of intelligence, trade, or relations with other countries. For example, we would not inadvertently want to release information about what our red lines are in trade agreements, about the peace negotiations and position on things like Ukraine, Middle East or Sudan, or on sensitive assessments made on our allies and with diplomatic conversations on our life depends. The point of the amendment is that we are trying to address that and to make that clear within the House, and we're trying to balance transparency with national security. And that is what the Minister is doing. I will give way to the honourable gentleman, the right honourable gentleman behind, and then I'll give way.
Ben, I thank the Minister for giving way, and no disrespect to the Intelligence and Security Committee, but he will have heard the points of order from the member for Hayes and Harlington and myself earlier. I think we need to know that there is a timetable for this inquiry. We need to know that it is not going to rule out specifically commercial interests such as Palantir and not investigate them. And we need to know that it's also going to investigate the whole web of influence that Peter Mandelson had over so much in government, which has brought about this dreadful position where we end up appointing somebody who's a friend of a paedophile as the ambassador to Washington. Because there are many people looking at this debate today who will not be happy that Parliament merely shoves it off to a committee of its own when they think there should be a wider public interest inquiry into the whole affair.
Minister. Thank you for that. Look, the police investigation will go wherever it needs to. It will cover any criminality or allegations thereof. That is the right way to do it, and nothing, I say, will be hidden in that fashion. With permission, Mr. Speaker, I am going to make some progress here because time is pushing. I will give way in a second. Time is pushing now. So let me come to the manuscript amendment. So we will agree with the ISC how they're going to work with us and scrutinise it, and I welcome the commitment made earlier on. As the Paymaster General set out earlier, the process for deciding what falls in scope will be led by the Cabinet Secretary, supported by Cabinet Office lawyers working with the ISC. The Cabinet Secretary will take independent advice on the decision he's taking, and it will take two forms. First, through independent KCs. Secondly, through scrutiny of the approach he's taking, working directly hand in hand with the ISC. Now, the Cabinet Secretary will write to the ISC setting out that process. He will meet with them regularly to ensure they are content with it, and in line with the manuscript amendment, papers determined to be prejudicial to national security or international relations will be referred, let me finish please, will be referred to the ISC. The ISC are independent, they are rigorous, they are highly respected, they will then decide what to do with the material that is sent to them. I'm going to give way to the honourable lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my honourable friend for giving way. Just for further clarity, the concern I think people have is that there will be a decision made by the government in the form of the Cabinet Secretary about what is referred to the ISC. What we are keen to know is that the bulk of the documents will be in the hands of the ISC, and they can make the decision about what needs to be kept private and what should be made public. Can the Minister clarify that the ISC will have control over what needs to be kept private and what can be made public?
So the release of information will be done in the way I just set out, either through the Cabinet Secretary working with independent lawyers about what work, or if material is deemed to be potentially conflicted with national security or foreign relations, it will be handed to the ISC, who are independent and can make decisions. And to the point the honourable member made earlier, this is the really crucial point I want to make. There will not be political involvement from ministers. There will not be political involvement from number 10 in this process. This is the Cabinet Secretary and the ISC working with lawyers on it. I will give way one more time, and then the gentleman behind.
I thank the Minister for giving way, but I really must push him because he is giving conflicting messages here. At one stage, he said that the direct contract award would be in scope of the committee. He has now said without committing any timescales. He has now said that the scope of of the releasing of documents is now a matter for the Cabinet Secretary with no political involvement. He has stood at this dispatch box as the political minister to say that that direct contract award would be in scope. Will it be or not?
Any correspondence involving Peter Mandelson in this is within scope. That will be looked at, as I say, by the Cabinet Secretary, who will make decisions based on with independent lawyers and working with the ISC on it. I'm going to give way one more time to the honourable gentleman.
Twig. Yeah, can I thank the honourable gentleman, my honourable friend. Can I give assurance that we're very confident in the ISC that we can do an effective job on this? And I think it's worth pointing out, we cannot be told what we cannot publish. That will be a matter and decision for us to do so. But can I also ask for an assurance following on what he's just said, is that there'll be no block whatsoever on documents that the ISC should be getting?
Yes, I can confirm that, and can I thank him for he has huge expertise in this, and I can confirm that, and we will work with the ISC on this. I'm not going to give away any more. There are 4 or 5 minutes to go. I will make some progress if that's okay. Mr. Speaker, as the Prime Minister also mentioned today, there will also have to be discussions with the Metropolitan Police over material. The Metropolitan Police have issued a statement today around material that will be released, so I just want to confirm to the House the material will not be released today because of the conversation with the Metropolitan Police over that, but it will be released as quickly as possible in line with the process set out before the House. I will give way, because I said I would earlier, to her.
I thank the Minister. He has set out the difference between national security matters and issues which may be embarrassing to the government, because let's face it, practically anything could damage international relations with Donald Trump. Who knows what he's going to take offence at. But the process he has just outlined implies that the Cabinet Secretary has to scrutinise every bit of information before deciding whether it gets released or whether it gets to the ISC. How long is that going to take? Will he give us assurance of the volume of material he anticipates sending to the ISC and the timetable? What will be the deadline for releasing that material, either into the public domain or to the ISC?
As I say, the timeline will be as soon as possible. We want to get on with this. There is a lot of material here to go through. We will get through this as quickly as possible. Other humble addresses have taken a number of weeks or months. We will want to be as quick as possible, and we will work with the ISC as soon as we can on this to get it progressing. And I hope she welcomes the spirit we take on. I just want to deal with 2 more points. As I said, there'll be no more, I'm afraid. I'm so sorry. I need to see 2 more points on a public inquiry, which a number of members mentioned. As I say, there is an ongoing police inquiry that has the freedom to go where it wants, and the cooperation of everyone in government. We believe that, along with the process we have set out, is the right way to, because I will not give way anymore. I will not give way anymore. Actually, I'll give way once. Go on.
Annalise Midgley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Minister just clarify clearly that the documentation will go to the ISC and they will be the decision makers in terms of what is a risk to national security and international relations and should be in the public domain, and not the Cabinet Secretary?
Let me try one more time. It will be either made public by the Cabinet Secretary, or it will go to the ISC, and they will have a decision for it to be made through there, and it will be done with the independence, resources, and Mr. Speaker, no, I'm writing up now. Mr. Speaker, it is absolutely right for the House to have debated this incredibly important issue today, and in the spirit it has. And I do want to thank honourable members and right honourable members for that. As I said, the lies, venality, and treachery of Mandelson shame this House. And I and the Prime Minister, and I know honourable members all around me, have nothing but contempt for the way he acted and lied to the British people. I'm glad this will now be shown to the British people. I share the anger, the disgust of so many other members of this House. And Mr. Speaker, we will comply with this motion, the amended motion. We will update the House on progress with that. And with that in mind, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the manuscript amendment in the name of the Prime Minister.
The question is that Amendment A be made, since when an amendment to the amendment has been proposed as follows: that amendment at the end of the Amendment A, and which shall instead be referred to the Intelligence and Security Committee of Parliament. The question is the amendment be made, and proposed amendment be made. As many of that opinion, say aye. Aye! Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Right. The question is that Amendment A, as amended, be made. As many of that opinion say aye.
Aye!
Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that the motion, as amended, to be agreed to. As many of that opinion say aye.
Aye!
Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Right. That completes. Are you ready, Caroline? Yes. Right. Sorry, a point of order, Simon Horn.
Speaker, it's in relation to the point that the Minister made with regards to the Metropolitan Police, asking that certain documents are not released in case they prejudiced a trial or an investigation. You know as well as I do, sir, the importance of privilege to this place. Will your office and council be working with the Cabinet Office to ensure that the rights and privileges of members of this House are protected?
Can I just say, we're not going to continue the debate, but just to sum up. The question with the Metropolitan Police have no jurisdiction on what this House may wish to do. It will be whether the government provides or not. But just to let you know, they cannot dictate to this House. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to continue the debate. It's been a long debate, an important debate. Let us move on.
Order, order. I will now announce the result of today's deferred division. Draft Greenhouse Gas Emissions Trading Scheme Amendment Order 2026. The ayes were 392, the noes were 116, so the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Motion number 3 on climate change. Minister to move.
I beg to move.
The question is, as on the order paper, as many as are of that opinion say aye.
Aye!
Of the contrary, no.
No!
The division is deferred until Wednesday next. Petition. Ian Room.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Further to our online petition signed by over 3,000 people calling for the Tarka rail line to be future-proofed, I present this petition on behalf of rail passengers in northern Devon who have suffered overcrowding and repeated service disruption due to flooding this winter, despite a record-breaking 1 million rail journeys per year between Barnstaple and Exeter. Following Storm Chandra, all trains have been cancelled. North Devon's rail link has been shut for over a week and will not resume for several more days. The petitioners therefore request that the House of Commons urge the Government to ask Network Rail and Great Western Rail to prioritise the Tarka line for improvements and to work together to make rail travel in North Devon more resilient. And the petitioners remain, etc.
Hear, hear.
Petition the Tarka line.
I beg to move that this House do now adjourn.
The question is that this House do now adjourn. Steve Race.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Since its establishment in 1964, the CITB has been the industry-led and funded training board for the UK construction industry, and at present is an arm's-length body of the Department for Work and Pensions, and so I thank the Minister for being here to respond. The CITB are tasked, in their words, with ensuring a safe, professional and fully qualified construction industry and to address critical skills shortages. As members will no doubt agree, some things do not change, and indeed we are grappling today with those very same challenges as we commit to delivering new infrastructure, a regeneration of our public realm, and of course the need to build much-needed new homes right across the country. The CITB has always been self-funded by the sector, with powers granted under the legislation to collect a levy from private and construction firms. In return for this levy, the CITB's role is to redistribute to sector firms the grants, funds and subsidies for training. This sector-wide approach has meant that skills are transferable and the cost of training is equitably shared between smaller and larger construction firms. And Madam Speaker, this is one of the ways in which the whole sector benefits. As any of us here knows, when we don our hard hats and visit construction sites, every project involves a huge range of large and small firms in bricklaying, carpentry, electricians, plumbers and so on. It is rare, if ever, that any project could be completed solely with one large firm. Indeed, just last Friday, I visited the St Michael's Meadow housing development in my Exeter constituency to congratulate the site manager Roy and his trainee site manager Sam, who have been awarded the Seal of Excellence Award and the NHBC Pride in the Job Awards. While there, I also met Dylan and Reese, two carpentry apprentices, both of whom are reaching the end of their apprenticeship training with Barrett Redrow, and one of whom is headed directly into the specialist carpentry firm that Barrett Redrow works with on their projects. That is the way that the industry works, and so the CITB has long reflected this in its engagement, and in particular through its stewardship and funding for CITB local training groups. Of course.
Madam Deputy Speaker, first of all, can I commend the Honourable Gentleman for Exeter for bringing this forward? He's absolutely right. He's been, in his time in this chamber, he's been an assiduous and committed and very, very industrious MP for his constituents. Thank him for that. We have something similar in Northern Ireland. It's called the CITBNI, similar to the very one that the Honourable Gentleman has referred to on the mainland. Key support, including up some £6,500 for apprentices over 3 years, 50% grant for net zero training. They're an absolute lifesaver for small contractors who can no longer afford the cost of apprenticeships when the cost of insurance alone for the apprentice is almost as costly as their wage.
Steve Rice.
I thank the member for his intervention. I hope the Minister will cover those points at the end. But I think that as we grapple with the costs rising in the construction firms, we need to support them, as I hope CITB will be in the future. So this is the way that the industry works, and so the CITB has long reflected that its engagement. The local training groups have been vital in supporting micro and small employers to form local networks, of course.
The Honourable Member for Exeter for giving way, and I wonder if the Honourable Member will agree with me that losing the skills and expertise of those local training groups, like the Plymouth Construction Training Group, which was formed in 1977 and has been funded by the CITB, as he's alluded to, in exchange for the proposed centralised delivery from CITB in London, is actually a retrograde step and therefore risks losing those local construction skills.
Bryce.
I thank the member for her intervention, and I fear that she might be right, and I'll be going on some of those issues and some of the feedback that I've had from local training groups across the country and from small firms as well. The groups have been vital in supporting micro-small employers to form local networks, helping them to forge closer ties, providing these businesses with local and low-cost training options, and with a paid officer who holds a wealth of local knowledge and experience. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, the National CITB has chosen to defund all 55 training groups across the country, choosing to close the network down and reallocate the funding elsewhere. This was brought to my attention by Mr. Peter Lucas, a constituent of mine who runs a carpentry business and who has been the chair of the National Training Group Chairs Committee. He impressed upon me the good localised work that training boards have been doing. He told me that training groups connect employers with training in everything from how to use a dust mask properly to master's degrees, a really broad spectrum of training for the sector. Training groups work with schools and colleges to promote construction with talks and information about the sector, and they signpost people into the appropriate apprenticeships programmes. They also save the CITB vast amounts of money on training courses, as training groups source them cheaper than at a national level. They meet up and exchange ideas and best practice from across the whole of Great Britain, with everyone gaining more knowledge. Each training group has until this year been given £35,000 from CITB to fund their group training officer, money that does come from the levy that members of the training groups have paid to the CITB. Without the grant, the training groups will likely close, and with the loss of the groups, vital local networks and local knowledge will be lost. Certainly, the local training group for Devon has been a success and is well liked. Indeed, one of the reasons I applied for this debate was not just because of the compelling case put to me by Mr. Lucas, but also because of the outcry from local firms when I posted about my meeting. Matthew Cousins, who runs Apex Scaffolding in my constituency, told me that as an active members of the local Southwest CITB steering group, they are facing ongoing challenges in recruiting and retaining scaffolders. With an ageing workforce and the increasing difficulty of attracting young people into this profession, they were very surprised that CITB has chosen to cease funding the training groups, and especially considering the levy costs that employers are required to pay. Of course.
I thank him for giving way and congratulate him on securing this important debate, and I'd like to draw the House's attention to my chairship of the GMB Parliamentary Group and my membership of the Unite Trade Union, both of which organise workers in the construction sector. That quality of employment is extremely important. Historically, the two engineering construction training boards had union representation on their boards. Over the years, that representation